And so I don't have
So if you click on view, which is in the upper right corner of my screen, and then you should be able to select gallery there.
I'm doing it from my phone. Oh, it says meeting settings. Is that it?
Can someone with the phone help us out? Maybe 3 dots somewhere near your view.
And don't worry, I won't pay attention to it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, Roger, compulsive overeater. Roger, thank you for asking me tonight to come and share. This is, when you called, I knew, I remembered, and I had forgotten totally, and it was like, what a God shot. It was like, I'm tired because I didn't sleep well last night. And I was like, it's too early to go to sleep, but I've been in the car today, whatever, and I'm lying down, usually we lie down, we're going to go to sleep. So thank you so much for asking me to come tonight, because when you called, it's like, thank you, God, total God shot. Okay, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. I think I was a compulsive overeater out of the gate. I was a fat baby. My mom, when I was growing up, she wanted me to eat oatmeal and cream of wheat for breakfast. I hated the way it tasted, and she put in Nestle's chocolate bits in it. And so I ate the chocolate bits out and probably a little bit of oatmeal or cream of wheat with it, but I only remember the chocolate part. And it just, but like at 7 years old, there's one picture of me, I have no idea where it is today, where you can see my ribs sticking out, but I'm holding a turkey leg that's half my size. So, food was always there. And in my family, we didn't talk about feelings. We didn't talk about anything. It was food was love. And, my mom, it's just my opinion that she's still alive at almost 95 years old. She's still a compulsive overeater. My dad, he was taller and he controlled it better, but she was always, not always, but she was dieting, and it just, food was center stage in our family. And so I didn't get modeled for me very good food habits. I think back then, I'm a child of the 60s. I'm born in 53, makes me 68 years old. There was a thing in Los Angeles called the Helms Bakery truck. I want to say a donut was $0.25, I think. And she would give me $1 and I'd buy 4 jelly donuts, or 2 glaze and 2 jelly. It's funny, I say that now, I can remember those donuts, what they taste like. And that's what, 60 years ago. And I would eat them one after another. They didn't get it about sugar and about ADD and all that stuff that we know about now. So I didn't much like myself, so I was sure you didn't like me either. So the only way that I dealt with life and fit in was to compulsively overeat. When I got wide with sugar, somehow the rough edges of life were taken away. It just wasn't as hard. So I just I didn't know until I knew, and I didn't see until I saw. And I'm also a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, but I've never been in any store, whether it's Los Angeles or New York or Chicago or anywhere else. And attention shoppers, on the end cap of aisle 5, we have cocaine on special today, $85. I never have seen that, but there's a reason that the bakeries, places that have in-house bakeries, do it in such a way that you're going to smell that stuff. And so it was always about the food for me. So I found compulsive overeating way before I found drugs and alcohol. I talked about the Helms Bakery truck. I can remember, I'll date myself, things like, some of the candy is retro and comes back. I loved Pez. I loved rock candy. I had a rock candy collection that I kept in my mom's break front. My mom showed me how to make rock candy. a store that was called Broadway, a department store. I would buy it there in different colors and like line it up and store it. I don't think my brother did that. I just, I can't be sure, but I don't think so. So I just, sugar was my drug, and that's how I used it. And things like, well, we had a bakery in Los Angeles called Vandy Camps. Later, I found things like Sara Lee. I liked frozen Twinkies. I remember as a kid going to the movies. I don't remember anything about the movies. I remember the Charm Suckers, the Milk Duds, the heavily buttered popcorn, the tall Coke or Pepsi, whatever it was, the Nicco wafers, all that garbage. And I came from a very middle class family. There was enough money to buy enough candy to keep this kid going, and consequently, I was called Pudgy, Porky, Pillsbury Doughboy at one point in school, maybe 8th grade or something. And I had chubby cheeks, and I was a chubby kid. And my mom would take me shopping. It would, oh, he needs the Portly section, or the and I don't remember being shamed about it, but let's be honest, girls don't like fat boys, and I was a fat boy, and I just got fatter. And I remember for my bar mitzvah, 13 years old, for those of you that don't know, my parents, they let me and my friends drink screwdrivers, and I, of course, got to pick out what kind of cake I would have, and it was all about the cake. It was all, the drinking was kind of like, I had invited girls. Well, if the girl's going to be there, I got to feel comfortable. So a couple of screwdrivers and a bunch of food, and I'm off to the races. And that's kind of how I rolled. So that would be 13 years old, at what age? You know what I need to do? This program's about rigorous honesty. I drank a thing of decaf tea a little while ago, and I don't know about you guys, but any kind of tea acts as a diuretic for me. If you want to stop the recording for a second, I'll go pee. I'll come back and we'll take a half a minute off my time. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, now that's progress for me, because if I'm thinking about my bladder, then I'm not thinking about carrying the message. And I was in a mixed meeting once, a big thing, and I was called on to speak, and I said, Herb, come back to me. I need to go use the bathroom. He said, will do. So, before, I didn't want to let you know what I was thinking or feeling. God forbid you should, know who I really am. So, in high school, my brother played high school football, so I wanted to be like him, but I was not a good football player. I wasn't good at anything in sports. I couldn't climb the rope in junior high. In high school, I was like in the remedial gym class. I think you had to run this in junior high. I think you had to run the 600-yard thing, whatever, and I always came in last. So I did start to get teased about my weight and how it affected my life. So that would be junior high and high school. When I went to college, somebody said to me, what did you take in college? And I said, I took up space. Basically what I did is drank, used, and compulsively overate. For 1 or 2 semesters or quarters, whatever they were called back then, I went to San Diego State, and the place I stayed had a buffet in the dorm. And all I remember is I could have as much chocolate pudding, no parents around. I could have as much to eat as I wanted. And that's how I rolled. I took a water skiing class. I mean, when you're drinking and drugging and compulsively overeating, when I am, I don't have much time, things that normal people do, like getting a good education, learning how, as my boss used to say, to go in life, to go the right way. He used to say, you do a million good things, you just find ways to F it up. I would bump into walls all the time. Now, maybe sometimes literally, but if not figuratively. I was a square peg in a round hole. I didn't get it. And of course, the rejection from girls became more and more. I guys didn't. I felt like a loner. Nothing really worked. So that's how I did college. I still have 3 units shy of graduation, but that's a story for another day. And I got a job at the age of 18. And if I look back on it, I worked for this company in Europe from the time I was 18 until I was 32, for 14 years. And it was that company, they were all alcoholics. Everything was centered around food. I remember once I was supposed to take some clients to another city, and there was no place to sit on the train. This is in Germany. So my boss said, that's okay. We'll just stay in the dining car. We'll just eat the whole time. Well, that was fine with me. And, I didn't know that at the time, but I found my lower companions with drugs, alcohol, and food. First time I met the owner, before I was even hired, he said, he handed me I don't know what they call it in Germany, a schooner of beer, a liter, whatever, and said, he'd see if I could drink that, state down, and then he wanted me to eat some German sausage with him. And he slapped me on the back and he told his son, this is a good man or good boy, I don't know what he called me. You need to hire him. And it's that I fit in with their corporate culture is what it was. And on September 20th, 1984, I got fired from that job because I became unemployable. And that day, it was a Thursday, I thought that was the last day of my life. I learned later that was the first day of any kind of life, because normal people don't stay up all night doing grams of cocaine, finishing a bottle of vodka, and eating a half a cheesecake. It's just not but I didn't get it. It's like, it never occurred to me that I had a problem with that. It's just, I like to party. I like to eat. Don't you know? And that's just kind of how it went. And then became my journey. September 20th was my first day of sobriety. When I got that phone call from Germany, there was no caller ID back then. There was no cell phones. And I believe in that conversation because I was talking like this and I could hardly talk because I was so screwed up. And, you mix sugar in with that and it's a recipe for disaster. I believe my boss fired me in that conversation, told me to bring my company car to Bob's house the next day. And I hid the car. And I took the vial of cocaine. I threw it on the ground on the rubber plastic chair thing that made my chair roll in my office, which was at home. And I started crying, and that was the last time I ever put cocaine in my nose. But 3 months later, had a big glass of red wine, and a sponsor, I said, that's not cocaine. And he said, change your date or get a new sponsor. So I changed my date. January 9th of 2020, I'll celebrate 37 years of sobriety. December 2nd of this year, I celebrated 3 years of abstinence. So somewhere around 29, maybe about 32 years ago, I found OA. I was, I'm an AA now, so I'm I have to be spiritual, emotional, physical, everything better. Well, I ate not a box. I ate a case of healthy cereal. And then I was also, as it says, I believe it's page 131 134 of the big book. A doctor who read the AA big book in the manuscript form said, for alcoholics, for a burst of energy, it's a good idea to keep chocolate handy. Oh, I took that literally. When I got sober, I want to say I weighed 225 pounds, and I went up to 245 in early sobriety. stuff was coming out of every pore of my body. So at some point, I believe, I don't remember, but somebody introduced me to OA. And if I'm rigorously honest, it was dieting with group support. And I lost some weight, and quite a bit of weight. And I was the dutiful AA. I've got 5 years of sobriety. I've got 8 years of sobriety. I'm much too cool for OA. So I actually met my wife in OA. To this day, 35 years, 36 years on January 1st. She's maintained the same 120 pounds. She eats the same way, but I didn't get it. The lights were on, but nobody was home. And I have a lot of remorse over that. On our honeymoon, I was supposedly working an OA program. Well, on the second day we were married, we were going out to eat to a restaurant in Napa Valley, and there was a fig tree outside the restaurant. I was pulling figs, very biblical. I was pulling figs off the fig tree and eating them one after another because I couldn't deal with the feelings of being married. And then if you've never had an unripe persimmon, what we call the high chia, the kind they use for baking, oh, it's so astringent, you will never forget that. And I picked one of those off a tree too. And people have said to me, oh, come on, it was your honeymoon. You're going to eat a little more on your honeymoon. And I say, well, how about if the tables were reversed? How about if my wife was an alcoholic and we went out to eat, second day we were married, and we went out to eat and I ordered a Perrier or some water. And she said, give me a Scotch rocks. I'd be, what? What are you doing? I thought you were sober. Well, we've never talked about it. She says I can't make an amends, that she's not willing to hear an amends at this point. But I feel
5 minutes left.
5 minutes left. Let's get to more recovery here. So today I have a sponsor. He has a sponsor. I sponsor guys. I'd like to talk about yesterday, Christmas Day. I currently live alone in downtown Los Angeles. I made dinner for a guy that I've been friends with for 40 years. His wife is in England, and she said, please take care of my husband while he's gone. Maybe see him. I made chicken breasts, a little steak and a little bit of lamb, some basmati rice, a salad, and some hummus. And, I said to him, what do you like for dessert? He says, I like flan. So I picked up some flan at a store, and then one of my coworkers' wife makes a really good flan. And I had these two different flans, and he goes, they're both fabulous. You need to try it. I said, I don't eat sugar. And he didn't press me. And it's like, as the 10th step says, I've been placed in a position of neutrality. This was done to me and for me, but not by me. On December 2nd, 2018, I went to an AA Lox and Bagels meeting. I told myself I was going because I liked the meeting so much. It was guys, we could talk about our men issues. That's all BS. The reason I liked the meeting so much is because this one guy had quite a bit of money. He'd bring 3 pounds of lox, 4 dozen bagels, and enough cream cheese to smear half of Los Angeles. And being in the food business, I would bring onions and tomatoes. I remember thinking or saying, if I would bring some Jarlsberg Swiss cheese and some butter lettuce, I could make a whole meal of this. And Roy L., the guy who started the meeting, light a candle. He was speaking, and somebody said, you have how many years? 40 years? And he needed a ride to a meeting about 20 miles away. I said, I can give him a ride. And while on the way to that meeting, he 12-stepped me back into OA after about 29 years. And I remember after I was taking him home, I said, I think I need another meeting. And he said, I do too. I said, what are you going to? And he said, I started this meeting, light a candle. I said, I don't know. This was God doing for me what I couldn't do for myself. I said, 5:30 at the Brentwood Presbyterian, I'll see you there. I was too embarrassed to raise my hand as a newcomer. I went to the meeting. I went to Whole Foods, got stuff off the hot bar and binged on some samples, this is before COVID, samples of some cheese and some Parmesan crisps. The next day I went to Serenity Sunday. I walked in, the guy leading the meeting, Jack S. said, Roger. I said, Jack. I didn't feel judgment from him. He said, welcome, how's your wife? And at the end of the meeting, he said, I'd like Roger V to lead us in a prayer of his choice. He made me feel so welcome. I was all in. Today, I work this program as if my hair's on fire. That's what happened. I love OA much more than I've ever fallen in love with AA, because AA is such a big program, and don't you know, AAs are so cool. But I have to eat 3 times a day, and I had an abstinent Christmas yesterday. I had breakfast and lunch today abstinently. I don't buy things that are, nobody's coming. I don't buy things that I'm not going to eat. That means, and I don't do recreational sugar. I don't do cane sugar. I don't do agave syrup, date sugar, coconut sugar. For me, it's all the same. Thanksgiving 2018. I went to this dinner. I went to 2 different things, a lunch and a dinner. And I ate so much turkey and salad and vegetable that I basically couldn't get out of bed the next day. And I told myself, we're so good at lying to ourselves. I told myself, the reason is because I'm just old. No, it's because I compulsively overate on those. They turned out later to not be alcoholic foods for me, but compulsive overeating is compulsive overeating. So today I eat 3 meals, 2 snacks. I make at least 2 to 3 calls a day. I still talk to my AA and OA sponsor pretty much on a daily basis. I like the accountability because I'm an addict. I'll still lie to myself, and tell myself a story. And I know I'm good at outing myself and saying, hey, this is what I want to eat. What do you think? This is what I had for lunch. Hey, this is a we program. We can do together what I could never do alone. And as I said, I need the accountability. How much?
30 seconds.
30 seconds. If you're new today, if you hear nothing else, don't do what I did. Don't leave the program 5 minutes before the miracle, because, by the grace of God, I was able to get back. But I'll put my number in the chat again. My number's next to my name. I go to a lot of meetings. I know a lot of good meetings on Zoom, all over the country. I work this program as if it's the most important thing in my life, because it is. At 68 years old, I don't think I have another recovery in me. I'm grateful to be abstinent today and be able to come and be with my fellows. Thank you guys for letting me share. And with that, I'm out.